So there's two things I want to share and I want to ask you about and talk to you about. The first one is to remember to challenge yourself about what your future is going to look like. As we had lots of stories and videos, you saw people from all walks of life, all different backgrounds that have been successful in this business, that have had a chance to be part of something special as they grew themselves, just like you. That was designed into this business from the beginning. That's what Jay and Rich wanted. They wanted a business that everybody could be part of. And in fact, many years ago, they would tell us the story of how they were trying to grow the business, and there was an external consultant that came in to talk to them about some strategies that they should think about. And the first thing they said is, well, let's talk about these business owners. Because, you don't have any restrictions on the people that can join Amway. You might want to think about that. You might want to think about an educational qualification. You might want to put that in there because we want everybody in Amway to be educated. Or you might want to think about experience, that they would have to have experience before they could join Amway. And then you might want to think that they had a proven track record in a different industry that they could bring something to Amway, or product knowledge. You might want to put some barriers in place because we can't just let anybody into the business. Well, Dad and Jay fired that person right on the spot. That was the last thing they believed about Amway, because they weren't trying to keep people out. They were focused on how to bring people in. This is a business for everybody, and this is a business for you. This is a business for you and for your future. And I want you to remember that with whatever changes, whatever new products we come up with, whatever technology is going to be used. The second thought I want to share with you as we think about the next 30 years, I want you to make it personal for yourself. And maybe 30 years might be too big of a time frame. Maybe it's a year. Maybe it's a couple. Maybe it's next week or next month. Maybe you're in a place where all you have is hope. I don't know where you are right now, but I'm glad you're here with us. And I'm glad you're part of this business, because you are going to define the future of Amway. We can have a lot of plans. We can have a lot of strategies. We can have a lot of investments, and we will do that. But you are going to define the future of Amway, because you're going to define the future for yourself. Many years ago, I was at Amway, and a number of Amway employees were talking to business owners on the phone, Amway business owners, and I was kind of interrupting things, and one of the women was on a phone call and said, who's interrupting things? And they said, well, it's Doug's walking around the place. And she said, let me talk to him. So I got on the phone with this wonderful woman, and she said, Doug, I wanted to talk to you today because I wanted to tell you that I'm moving into my dream home today. I got to tell you my story. Amway products were the only laundry detergent that I could use so that my skin didn't have a nasty reaction. And I became a loyal customer to Amway because of those products. She said, I didn't know how important it would be to be a good customer until my husband lost his job. And I knew already that Amway products were good, so we signed up in the business. We became Amway business owners. because shortly after we achieved a level of success, my husband passed away. And I was alone. But I was in a business that we had built together. It wasn't his job that was lost. I lost him, but I still had the Amway business. And I could still work the Amway business. I could still grow the Amway business. And because of the way this business is structured, I have a future, and I'm moving into my dream home today. And I said, that's great. I said, that's wonderful. And she said, that's the end of my story. And so we exchanged a few comments back and forth, and we said goodbye. And as I hung up the phone, I realized something. I never asked her about her dream house. I never asked her. I didn't know if it was a big home or a small home. And I thought for a second, I said, I should have asked her more about that. But then I stepped back and I said, it doesn't matter. It's not my dream home. It was her dream home. That's what was important. Wherever you may be, in this auditorium, whatever seat you're in, online, wherever throughout the country you may be, the next 30 years of Amway are your 30 years. It's about your future. It's about your future. It's about your dreams. And it doesn't matter what those dreams look like to me. What matters to all of us is that they're your dreams, that they're your aspirations, and that you have goals, and that you're willing to work for it. That's what's important. You will define the next 30 years of Amway. But I know there's promises that we can make. We can promise you that we will be with you every step of the way. We can promise you that we will continue to invest in this business and believe right alongside with you that your future is worth working for, that your future is important, and that we will continually work together to help you make that future a reality. That's why we're here. So there's